to that end, we're going to stand here every Friday night and meet and greet and get to know everybody.
Right.
You know, I volunteer down at Alameda County Juvenile Justice Center.
Wow.
And they do a really good. I say justice, but because I'm in the max units with the young men, and I actually don't know why they're there.
Maximum security?
Yeah.
Wow.
So these boys.
Why did you choose that? I'm curious.
What, the max units?
Yeah.
Because
Let alone to volunteer there. I mean, you know.
well, those kids are there for the long haul because they're going to prison. These are teenagers. When they turn 18, they're going to prison. So the other units within juvenile detention, they turn over because the kids are in, they're out, they're there on a misdemeanor, they're in, they're out there. And but the kids in the max units are not going anywhere except to prison when they turn 18. So
Wow.
And you know, I don't know what they've done.
That's really sad.
It's profoundly sad. And let me tell you something. All these boys are black and brown. I'm not advocating that white and Asian kids need to be in
But
there.
it does bring up a question. I mean, don't you mean? Isn't it more a matter of that we've seen, I'm just asking, to deploy our police resources in areas of color, even though crimes occur in those and other rich areas? You know?
What is your question?
I said, even doesn't it seem like the reason why they are there, it's a byproduct of the fact that our police resources, our police people, are deployed in areas that are poor and of color when there's many crimes that occur in the hills?
Yeah. Well, it's such a complicated issue, but it starts at pre-K. You know, if kids don't get pre-K education, they start down here. Kids who get pre-K, they start up here.
And I asked that because, for example, the whole drug, particularly during the 90s and the early 2000s, the drug trade had two people. It had the buyer and the seller, right?
Yeah. And that's what started.
And the buyer is always in the hills, but no one ever. You see what I'm getting at?
Right.
The buyer can always get away with it, but the seller, who's young and a kid, winds up in jail.
Look, it's just like prostitution. We're going to arrest the girl who, for whatever reason, is doing this to feed herself.
Yeah, right.
But we don't go after the Johns.
Right, that's what I'm getting at. Right, that's exactly
You know,
right.
to me,
that's exactly
that's
right.
child abuse. It's rape. It's pedophilia. It's a host of felony criminal acts. But we don't go after the Johns. We give them one of these and we tell them, you know, listen, we're gonna send you a letter, and if we see you down there again, it's gonna be bad.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, there's some things we need to flip. I mean, we could talk and talk and talk, but the war on drugs is what started a mass incarceration of African Americans, and that's why we have an overwhelming number of brown and black people in prison. And they're in there for smoking pot. They're in there for selling drugs, but their sentencing is different. So what we've had is however many years. When did we start the war on drugs?
I was like in the mid-90s. Actually, before that. Before that.
But that's when the numbers started to shift.
Right.
We're a nation that is 5% of the world's population. And we have 25% of the population in prison. And they're black and they're brown. And we see it right down the street at the Alameda County Juvenile Justice Center. So that's why I'm there.
Wow.
I'm working with the Elevator Center and a host of other organizations around having a conference on mass incarceration in October here in Oakland.
Oh, okay.
It's a problem. The system is broken and our kids suffer. They can't afford legal advice. They are overcharged often so that they plea down. And they end up in prison. You know, the Center for Investigative Reporting just did a series of reports on mass incarceration. And not here in this state, because they don't do this in the state. in New York, they've got, what was the number? They got 400 kids on Rikers Island, and at any one time, there are dozens of them in solitary confinement. They're juveniles. Again, we could talk on and on, but suffice it to say, there's a man named Brian Stevenson who has an organization called the Center for I've got them all. He has the Equal Justice Initiative out of Alabama. And his life's work, because there at one time have been 3,000 juveniles in prison on life without parole. Life without parole. So his life's work is to he's arguing before the Supreme Court soon that it violates the Eighth Amendment against cruel and unusual punishment. But he says, and I believe this in every cell of my being, that we are not the worst thing we have ever done. We are not the worst thing we have ever done. When even murder is an awful, heinous crime, but it's not all of who we are. And there is room for rehabilitation. I believe there's always room for some kind of rehabilitation. And I'll tell you off camera why. But so I'm engaged with these young men. I'm there to teach them art, and they are so creative because art is another way to express yourself, and they do. And I love them all. I love them. And when I'm not with them, I miss them. We all deserve a second chance. And these boys are not going to get a second chance because they didn't get a first chance.
Asking a question on a subject that's not going to make me cry.
Okay.
What's your feeling about the retention of sports organizations in Oakland, the A's, the Raiders, and the Warriors?
What do you mean, what's my feeling?
How's that for a shifter? Whoa, wait a minute. She's got the Raiders on the back of her cell phone.
Am I a hopeful woman?
Yeah.
Or what?
Hey, Amy Trask would love you.
Oh my God. Okay, every season I go, okay, this is our year. This is our year. And every end of season I go, all right, we'll get them next year. What do you mean, what's my feeling? We should retain them all.
How? How we doing?
However we can.
Okay.
I mean, look at, we have great fans. Our fans are loyal to the bone. You're gonna leave that and go just to chase the money? Okay. I love the idea of a new A's stadium and along the waterfront and bringing people to our shores and then drawing them into the city, like Merritt, Chinatown. We have fabulous tourist places here in the city. We need to clean up the city. We need to get rid of the graffiti. We need to stop the dumping that goes on here so that people are invited to come in. I mean, the Lake Merritt BART station is not just filthy. It's scary.
And it is.
And that's the one that leads to Lake Merritt.
Right.
And that's the one that leads to Chinatown. And if we get the ballpark, that's the one that leads to the ballpark. Come on. There's no reason it's dirty. It's filthy. So I'm a little off topic, but I mean, there's so many easy things we could do right now to address quality of life issues that would entice teams to stay.
How far? Because what's interesting is you're the first person I've talked to, maybe because of Well, that's another story, but you didn't mention whether or not, and I kind of like this, you didn't say, I don't want to spend public money. Well, you didn't say, it sounds like you're more open to, you said whatever it takes.
For the
For the sports teams? Or,
we can
it sounds like you're not closed out to certain ideas. That's am I wrong about that? Or?
Well, I really have to look into the issue, honestly.
Yeah.
All I know is that I love professional sports as a citizen. And it's been a huge part of my life.
So I gotta ask you, does that mean that I'll just say this. Does that mean you would be more interested in making the Warriors stay here rather than seceding them to San Francisco?
Yeah.
Awesome. Because I don't hear that a lot.
Why are we gonna let them? I mean, why can't we put on the biggest rush we can to work and entice them to stay?
Right.
What's wrong with that? Okay, if it's all ego, they left us, so we're not gonna talk to them. Okay, no. I think let's sit back down at the table and ask them what is it do you want? And when we find out what they want, then we can find out what we can do, and maybe meet somewhere in the middle. But we have to have a conversation, and I know that that's a difficult conversation. But why are we just going to roll over? I'm not a quitter. And I'm not ready to just roll over and say, "Hey, good luck to you."
Yeah.
And no, that's no. So I do need to do my homework on the issue. I don't have, but suffice it to say, I want them all to stay.
Yeah, that was,
I think we lost some dishes there.
It's been that kind of day, folks. So, what is District 2? For the people watching this who are new, how would you describe District 2? I mean, it's pretty big, but,
Yeah. Actually, it's not as big as most of the other districts, which is fine with me. But it's full of it's full of wonderful people who range economically from the working poor to the wealthy. They range ethnically, Asian to Hispanic to black to white, everything in between. They range educationally from dropouts to graduate degree.
Yes, right.
And so we have the circle of life in that district, and I really like that. I think we can all learn from one another, and it's we have the south end of Lake Merritt in our district. We have Chinatown in our district. We border the fruit there. It's and we're confined by freeways. It goes over 580 a little bit, and it stops at 80. So it's a nice little tight confined district, and it doesn't stop at 80. It goes over to the water, but and it's beautifully diverse. We have incredible open markets along International and East 12th Street. We have farmers market.
By the way?
I live in the flats. I live in the San Antonio district.
You have your artist colony down there?
I do. I bought my place. It's a wonderful story. I bought my place from two sculptors. And I'm a sculptor, which was, meant to be, as far as I'm concerned. And they had built it into a compound. It's a fully enclosed compound with an interior courtyard. It's beautiful. And then he passed away.
Oh no!
And so the other sculptor, lived there by herself for 10 years. And so when I came in, I finished the work that they had started, and now I have. Let's see how many there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 artists in the compound. And the beauty of it, and because I promised her I would maintain it as an artist haven, and that's what I call it. And so there are sculptors, there's a neon sculptor artist in there, and a painter and a woman who does mixed media, and we range in age from 23 up to, not me, to 75, and we're all different colors and backgrounds, and it's heaven. It's heaven to me, and I get to walk from my house right into my studio every day, and I'm in heaven.
On that note, how can someone watching this support you? How can they contact your campaign?
You can contact my campaign. I'm on Facebook and Dana King for Oakland. And I also have a website, www.danakingforoakland.com. And I would love your support. One of the sayings that I've actually had it tattooed on my feet because I want to step that way every day. Is a saying by the Sufi poet Rumi: wherever you stand, be the soul of that place. And I want to do that every day. Whatever issue I engage, I want to stand in a space of collective support and understanding and righteousness. And I feel compelled to give back at this point in my life.
This won't be the last time we talk.
Okay.
Thanks, Dana.
Okay, so
Yeah.
thank you very much.